Hi everyone, we have started our descent into Sao Paulo. We will have you on the ground in roughly 45 minutes. At this time, the cabin crew will come around to pick up any trash you may have and prepare the cabin for landing. We would like to thank everyone for flying, said the captain over the intercom of the airplane. Thomas was kind of paying attention and kind of not. He had spent the 10-hour flight replaying the last 2 weeks in his mind. His dad's letter, the key, and the box he had yet to open, saying goodbye to Danny and Colton, saying, "We will play online all the time," even though that probably wouldn't happen. Packing up his room, his clothes. It was all a whirlwind couple of weeks, and it had all come down to this 45-minute descent into an unknown city. He had Googled Sao Paulo before he left. He saw the endless number of apartment buildings as far as the eye can see. He read about the traffic and the rain. He read about the beaches, nature, and the culture of Brazil. He figured if he was going to live there, he might as well know what he was getting himself into. He even started learning Portuguese. Bom dia, good morning. Obrigado, thank you. It was a strange language, but kind of fun at the same time. As the plane hit the tarmac, reality sank in. He was there. He looked out the window to a world he had never seen before. Hills surrounded the airport with tiny red-colored homes everywhere. Beautiful trees and lush forests filled the spaces between the homes. He left the plane, went through immigration, baggage claim, and custom, all the while just processing this whole experience. As he exited the airport, the heat and the humidity hit him in the face. For a brownish blonde, white-skinned 14-year-old from the United States, he immediately started sweating. He saw two men standing, and one of them had a sign that said "More Family." Thomas and his mom walked up to them, said "Oi," hi, and followed them to the car. Thomas watched the two continuously talking to one another. They had what looked like an earpiece they would touch, as if someone else was talking to them. They kept scanning in every direction, making sure everything was all right, even after they had loaded the 6 pieces of luggage they took with them. "How are you doing, my love?" his mom asked as they entered the car. "You haven't said much since we left D.C. Are you okay?" "Yes, I'm fine, Mom. Just taking it all in," Thomas replied. As they exited the airport, the culture shock truly hit. Traffic everywhere, motorcycles driving between cars, trash and litter all over the roads and in the rivers. Thomas felt like something was amiss as they were driving. They got picked up in a huge black SUV with tinted windows, leather seats with TV screens. As compared to the other cars on the road, they really stood out. "Mom, this is a nice car. Nicer than any car we have at home," said Thomas as he was touching anything and everything in the luxurious SUV. "It's a company car, little man," she replied. It took some time to work their way into the city. Traffic slowly moved. Because of this, it gave Thomas time to look at his new world. Thousands and thousands of people moving about their lives, walking to work, honking at each other. Everyone was in a hurry. Corner cafes with people drinking their morning coffee, people walking the streets with their shopping in little carts. All so new to Thomas. All so strange. Finally, after what seemed to be forever, they made their way to their neighborhood. Neighborhoods in the big city have names. His was called Moema. It was a nice neighborhood with beautiful cars everywhere, high-end stores on every corner. They stopped the car and pulled up to some gates. Armed guards walked up to the driver of the car. They looked at each other, gesturing to one another, and looked back at us. Finally, the gates opened, and they went in. "Where are we, Mom?" asked Thomas. "We are here, our apartment," his mom replied. Thomas just sat there in shock. Armed guards, gates, black huge SUVs with tinted windows. What is going on? He thought. The car drove down into the apartment parking lot. Thomas and his mom left the car and went to gather their bags in the back of the SUV. "We will get this for you, sir," the driver said. "Please follow your mom to the elevator." "Sir?" Thomas thought. He just looked around the parking garage at the driver and finally at his mom. His mom was already at the elevator, as if she had been in this apartment before. "Thomas, come quick," his mom yelled. Thomas rushed and got on the elevator as the door closed. "All this will make sense in a few minutes, Thomas, I promise," she said to him. To Thomas's surprise, the elevator just kept rising and rising and rising, all the way to the top floor. penthouse suite? Now this is cool, he thought to himself. Once the elevator stopped, Thomas's mom placed her thumb on the fingerprint scanner and opened the door. Welcome, bud. This is your new home, she said to him. Thomas walked out and into paradise. The apartment was huge. The floor was covered in huge, colorful tiles. Huge pane glass windows covered the exterior wall. Flat screen TVs, gigantic couches and chairs. This place was unreal. Wow, this place is amazing, Mom. What work do you actually do? Because whatever it is, they set us up, Thomas exclaimed. Well, little man, it just gets better. Go out on the veranda, she replied. Thomas walked over towards the wall of windows and found a sliding glass door that was already open. He walked out onto the veranda and up to the railing. Oh my God, he said. Their apartment looked out over the city and the heart of Central Park. Buildings, apartments, and a sea of trees filled his vision. This is amazing, Mom. Did you see this view? It's unreal, he said. I know it is, little man. A strange but familiar voice responded back. Thomas stopped. His heart started beating faster and faster. I know that voice, he thought, but it can't be. He slowly turned around to face back towards the apartment. Standing in the sliding glass door was a man that he loved with all of his heart, but hadn't seen in months. Dad? Thomas yelled.